Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today we're going to be visiting a very strange world, trying to survive while we push our luck. This is Godforsaken Scavengers. This is a solitaire or cooperative game, mostly cooperative, in which you are going to be flipping over cards from different piles, trying to get through locations, i.e. rounds, in the game, trying to make it to the end. If you manage to do that, you win. If you do not, you lose. There's also, like I said, a solitaire mode in here. There's a campaign mode for solo player and multiplayers, a few different variants. But basically, this is a tiny dungeon crawler is the idea, with a strange, very abstracted, or at the very least not very well, to explain to the player setting that hopefully I'll give you a feeling for, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. We'll come on back up here after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. Alright, so let's set up a scenario and take a look at how this game works. I've got here the different scenarios in the game, and I'm going to be doing Daring Retreat for 2 players, okay? I'm just going to set it up for 2 players. So it tells us a bunch of information. You're on your own, 6 areas in play. Difficulty, they say, is medium, play time long. Each player wins or dies individually, and they give you a little bit of setup. So each player is going to start with 1 yellow and 1 orange card, which come from here. And as you can see, there are 3 levels. The red ones being the most difficult, but also the most likely to hurt you, but also the best rewards, on down to the yellow being the one with the least effect, let's call it. So there's that. We're going to leave this somewhere. It said 6 areas. This is going to represent the bottom area, which is that area there. So we're going to put that on the bottom. We'll shuffle the rest of these and put 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top of that. There we go. Start player gets that. And these are going to be bad, terrible things that happen to you. You get 3 of these, you die. You're out of the game. So, alright, let's take a look at how this goes. We're going to flip over the first location. These are basically rounds, is what these locations represent. So this one is called the Crystal Cave, and it might have some sort of rule at the bottom. We flip that over. We're going to shuffle up this deck here. And we're going to split it up into 3 about even piles on the table. You probably don't want to look so that you don't see the top card. But anyway, put 1 there, and 1 there, and 1 there. And then, starting from the start player, you scavenge until you want to stop. This is our start player over here. I've got a couple of cards. This one shouldn't be in my hand, probably. So let's do that. Yeah. Okay, so I am going to start and I'm going to scavenge. So I pick a pile and I can flip cards from it until I want to stop, and then I can take those cards into my hand unless something bad happens that prevents me from doing that. At the end of this round, i.e. going through this location, then we each need to feed equal to this number. Most of the cards, you'll see here, have a number. That is the ability to feed, so I'm going to need at least a 5 to get through this. Or you can activate their ability. Some reactions, these happen to be reactions. Most of them you play them for an action at any time. It's very free form. So I'm not planning on playing these pretty much at all because I need to be able to get through this. And I'm going to go from this pile because I'm assuming it's going to be the easiest. So I flip 1. Great. That would be 5 if I take that. Or I could keep going, okay? I would probably stop, which means I'm going to go into next round with absolutely nothing in my hand at all, but let's assume I keep going. I flip up another one. It's one of these bad ones that says I gain one of these afflictions. And if I do, I flip all player characters face down. Player characters are a variant. Right here, this variant that some cards will mention, and again, it's optional. So if I had done that, I gain one of these afflictions. The affliction in this case happens to be, I ignore all the positive effects on any locations. Some of these are positive, some are negative, okay? So I would do that. I would keep this. This is 1/3 towards dying, don't forget. And then also this is discarded and this is discarded. It clears the area. But let's assume I did not do that. Let's assume I picked this up because I was smart and I stopped early. Now it's this player's turn. This player is going to, let's take a look at their hand of cards here. Let's say they even want to pick a different pile. They're going to pick this one. And they're going to start flipping. Ooh, that's good. And the next one's yellow, so maybe they want to prepare for the future a little bit. They're going to flip over that one. Let's see, and maybe they even want to keep going. So they're going to play... they're going to take this one as well. Push their luck there. And then they're going to play this forward scout. Reveal the top card of each scavenge pile by flipping it face up. Alright, well, I'm going to keep going. Once you start in one pile, you cannot change your mind. And now, that player is going to stop. And that's it. These can now be flipped. Now we get to the feeding part. This player will have enough to feed. They'll go ahead and discard 5. This player will have enough. They will discard 5. And obviously you would pick which ones you want to keep. This is gone. We flip over the next location. And we take all this and shuffle it up and split it up again. However, this narrow tunnels specifically says to form only one scavenge pile instead of 3. So I'm shuffling this up, and it goes onto the table. This is now the start player, and they will start scavenging. Okay, they'll stop. They'll take that. This player will take that, will take that, and they will stop. That's enough to pass. 1, 2, 3. That's enough to pass. That's gone. We flip over this one. That's the start player. And this continues until you bomb because you get some bad card. You never really know when they're coming. They're not all in red. Some of these orange cards will get you. Some, you just don't know. So let's take a look at it. All right, that one's red. There's other card types in here that I need to show you as well. So like this one's orange. You're not really sure if you're gonna, get hit with it or not. Most of them are red, but you also don't know anything past the top card. Because as soon as you take that one, you have to keep going from the same pile. If you cannot feed, by the way, then you discard one card from your hand and you take one of these afflictions. And again, 3 of these will end the game. So that's basically the flow of the game. There's a few other card types in here besides the reactions, the actions, and these bad ones. And those are these that show a loot sack, basically. When these are in the scavenged area before they are taken by someone, they give you the ability to do something in order to complete that little side quest. So in this case, you can take one of the afflictions to scavenge 5 from one pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And obviously an affliction. And then from these, you would get rid of that one, discard that, and you'd keep the other ones. Pretty good. This affliction that I got stuck with here says I have to scavenge at least 3 cards when possible. All right. So there you go. That's the idea. Once you go through these locations, then the last one, which just looks like that, becomes this. And this one happens to be giant halls and needs a total of 9. Good luck with that. And then the value of hunt and rush is 1 more. Those are 2 types of cards in the game. And if you can harvest enough, harvesting, by the way, is discarding the card to feed. So that's it. I hope that makes sense. It's very simple. Flip cards and see what happens is largely it. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. Okay, that is the game. Boy, this is one I really like the look of. So let's dive right in, shall we? I want to start with the aesthetics, because I do like the aesthetics in this game. And again, this is the one thing I talk about in these reviews that you don't need to hear literally anyone talk about it, me or anyone else, and that is the look of a game. you can just look at a game and know whether you like it or not. I like the look. I think it's a cool, unique style that it has, and it's precisely why I wanted to check this game out. Play it, see what's going on in it. I think that holds true throughout. You know, the use of color, the use of geometry in the game is really interesting, captivating even. Card quality's not too bad, and that's it as far as the components. The rulebook's not great. It's also 2 rulebooks for some reason. It's like sort of like a regular rulebook here, and then campaign. But in the campaign one is actually where you have the card list, which I figured, I don't know. Anyway, this isn't great, but that's my biggest thumb up is the aesthetics. Everything else I dislike in this game. The theme is something about insect-like characters and madness and being chased through this, creepy, grim, dark kind of setting that they refuse to just sort of tell you what's going on. You know what I mean? And that's okay to a degree, but also it feels like they don't know. The people who put together the game don't really have any better explanation than what you are going to gather. The replay value here. There's a bunch of stuff in this box, or at least they try to put a bunch of stuff in it. You've got a couple of variants, and you've got a bunch of scenarios, but it adds up to nothing. It's all nothing. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what scenario you play. It's the same thing pretty much. They go through all this trouble to tell you whether a game is short or long or very long. It's an extra, like that. All that means is like there's an extra card. It's just crazy. It's all these parameters that they've built in to make the game seem like a bigger game than it is, to make it feel like an epic game. They just don't work. They're too transparent. I know a lot of games do that. They put things in place to make the game feel epic. It's just a game, but they attempt to do that. This one fails miserably at doing that. The game art is terrible in this game. It's the same thing over and over. Push your luck absolutely blindly, pretty much, like 90% of the time, and then you die. That's the game arc. It's terrible. Every card you want to play or would possibly want to play, you better hang on to because you need it to feed. The punishment for not feeding is one of the bad cards that kills you anyway. So the push your luck aspect of the game comes down to, okay, well, I better push my luck, hope I don't hit it, but if I hit it, I die, or I better stop, I don't have enough to feed, and then I die. That's the arc of the game. Even if you might manage to pull it off, it's just flat. It's incredibly flat. I feel like I can start seeing through the cracks, and it feels like I'm playing with a regular 52 deck of cards and just top decking, hoping not to hit like a court card or something. That's it. Like, that's as much as this game manages to make you feel, The ease of play. They tried to do so much. The designer tried to do so much. Is that typical sort of, Kickstarter pitfall where it's co-op and semi-co-op and solitaire, and we're going to unlock a campaign and characters. You can be characters, and there's a caravan variant you can play with, and there's even a part in the rulebook where they talk about possible betrayal, deals. They have a section on deals. At any time, players can make binding deals and give or trade cards from their hands. However, should you break a promise given to another player, they can choose to punish you with an affliction. No exceptions. That is thoroughly unnecessary. So the game now also is a negotiation game. It tries to do everything, manages to do nothing except draw a card. Oh, bad stuff. Done. That's the game. Lastly, tactics and strategy and luck. Look, there's a couple of moments where you're going to find yourself, if you're really looking for it, if you want to just sort of shoot down my argument, you can go, yeah, but there's a moment where you can have a card and you play it and then you look at the top card in every deck, and that's not luck. That's true. Also, you're picking one of 3 piles, probably the one with the easiest color on top. You're going to draw that one and flip it, and the next card, you have no idea what that is. You don't have any idea what the first one is, but you at least can select a color. You know what I mean? After the top card, it might all be garbage. You just don't know. This is top decking the card game. The game attempts to, in some ways, there are parallels I can draw to a great cooperative card game called The Grizzled, in which you do the same thing. You're attempting to not bust, but you have a hand of cards. You are working with the players around the table, and you are playing these cards to a communal area, hoping to not push a threshold. When players see they're about to burst a threshold, they can back off at a penalty. Yeah, you want to play them, but you can back off. This is like playing The Grizzled if you just shuffled up all the cards, put them in the middle of the table, and just drew one from the top of the deck until you want it to stop. It's terrible. So I can't really recommend it to anybody. I just don't think it's well finalized. I don't think it's good. My phone agrees with me. I know. So this gets a big thumbs down. Play The Grizzled. I think you'll like that if you like this. If you like this theme and the look of this, there's probably tons of stuff you can play. This weird fantasy-esque setting. That's not enough is what I'm saying. And I like that. I don't even mind that it's very vague. But the game is just so lacking in excitement and interest. It's a flat game that falls into so many, pitfalls that come with Kickstarter or otherwise. So there you go. This is going to get... couldn't make up my mind between giving this a 2 or a 3 out of 10. So it's going to get a 2.5 out of 10. There you go, everybody. That is Godforsaken Scavengers. Big pass from me. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.